Hello, welcome to an AEW Dynamite review for December 2nd, 2020, the Winter Is Coming edition of Dynamite. A very pay-per-view like episode of Dynamite, and it was pretty darn newsworthy. A lot of things came out of this episode. Also featured a debut from none other than Sting, who was rumored to show up a few months back in AEW, but it didn't happen. But it finally happened this episode, and it was glorious. Everyone lost their minds when he showed up. It was a great moment. It also features matches, and we're going to get into them right now. The episode kicked off with the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale, and a few notable things happened in this match. Shawn Spears and Scorpio Sky continued their rivalry. Adam Page helped the Dark Order eliminate a guy, plus the Dark Order helped Page avoid elimination by catching him just as he was falling off of the ring apron. MJF helps out Sammy from elimination early on in the match. Matt Hardy heals it up in the match, which adds to his newer character that he's going for. Pretty much eliminated majority of the favorites, the fan favorites in this match, to get that heel heat. Miro had a great showing in this match. Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy had a nice altercation in this match. And it ended with Orange Cassidy getting the win. And by doing so, he will face off against MJF next week. That should be an interesting matchup. And I don't see MJF losing that. This Battle Royale moved a lot of stories forward, and it started a few new feuds. And for that, it gets a thumbs up from me. And I give it a 3. Dynamite worthy. It was entertaining. And it got things done. We follow that up with Frankie Kazarian versus Chris Jericho, a first-time matchup. Jericho throws his belt at Frankie Kazarian to start the match. Kaz then headlocks Jericho a bit. Kaz later hits the flux capacitor on Jericho from the top rope for a 2 count. That's what Excalibur calls it, but it may just be a Spanish fly there. MJF later comes out to throw in the towel for Jericho, but Sammy snatches it right out of MJF's hands before he could get a chance to. But Jericho then gets out of his Walls of Jericho move that Frankie Kazarian put on him. And once he gets up, he notices that Guevara had the towel in hand. So maybe this may play a factor in getting Sammy ousted from the group down the line. We shall see. Jericho then hits the Judas effect due to this distraction, and he picks up the victory. Following this, Alex Marvez interviews the Young Bucks. They say, remember when we super kicked you? They also remember Full Gear. They also remember Full Gear when they won the tag team titles. He said they're fighting champs. And then they went on to give TH2 a shot. If they manage to beat the Bucks, then they'll get a shot at the tag team titles, even though they are not ranked. To some people, will undermine the rankings a bit. So we'll see where they go with this, but I have a feeling people will crap on it if the Bucks lose to TH2 next week. Next matchup, we had Layla Hirsch versus Dr. Britt Baker. Hirsch takes Baker down multiple times to start this match. Baker then rakes Hirsch's eyes and gets control of the match a bit through the break. Back from break, eventually Britt wins via the lockjaw, and Thunder Rosa makes her presence felt as she beats down Britt post-match. This adds more flame to their feud that is ongoing right now. We don't know when we'll get the match, but it's a definite. And I give this match a 2.5. It could have been better, but it was all right. Kazarian versus Jericho, I'll give it a 3. Just because Jericho and Kazarian are veterans. After this, we had Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes, Darby being the TNT champion, versus Team Taz's Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Team Taz wastes no time as they put the hurt on Cody and Darby a bit before the bell sounded. Then we went to a break. Back from the break, Darby tags in and gets worked over. Hobbs shows off his strength, and Starks plays the coward on the outside of the ring, running away from Darby, which entail leads him to get clotheslined by Hobbs on the outside. Cody later gets the hot tag, and he runs wild. Taz then distracts the referee, and Cody gets his eyes raked. Darby later wins it, though, for his team via the coffin drop to Ricky Starks after he tagged himself in. Post-match, Taz called the shots as Team Taz beat down Cody and Darby. And just as Team Taz was going to finish off Cody with the FTW Championship, the lights went black. Everything faded to black in the arena. Then all of a sudden, we fast forwarded to the Titantron, which had a winter theme going on. Winter is coming, they say. And a nice epic theme was playing. And then eventually, it was shown to the world that Sting was this man. He walked down the tunnels. Everyone in awe, even the announcers, especially Tony Schiavone. It's Sting! Sting walks down to the ring, bat in hand. He walks and he looks at Arn Anderson standing in the ring. Then he looks at Dustin Rhodes. Then he looks at Cody Rhodes. And then he looks at Darby Allin. And then he leaves the ring. What does he have to say? Well, we'll know next week because Sting will speak his first words in AEW, and we will know what's on his mind. So we got to stay tuned for next week to see what happens regarding to that. But this was very buzzworthy because after Sting made his debut, everyone was talking about it. And this was smart to debut him in the middle of the show because this would get more eyes on the show, word of mouth travels, and people would tune in, and then they would see what else AEW had to offer. Good stuff. The match itself, it gets a 3. It was fine, but it was mainly used to debut Sting. After this, we got a Hikaru Shida segment in the back. She was interviewed by Marvez. She ripped into Abaddon, calling her a cosplayer. And Shida does this as well. This basically belittled Abaddon a bit, but in the background, a clanky sound happened. And maybe this was Abaddon playing some mind games on Shida. We'll find out soon enough because Shida will be in action next week on Dynamite. Following this, we got a mock segment basically building up hype for the main event, which was to follow. And then we have it. Kenny Omega, the challenger, versus Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion. And this was a good match, a very good TV match. And I'm going to tell you right now, I give it a 3.5, close to being a pay-per-view level match. The match spilled outside early on and into the break. Back from the break, Omega gets to work on Mox's knee. This plays into his wheelhouse because because Mox does his best work when he gets to use foreign objects and such. Mox later focuses on Omega's head and neck, and then we went to another break. Back from that break, Omega hits a dive And then Mox hits his paradigm shift, but he doesn't cover Omega. This perplexed a lot of people. Why don't you go for the cover? They said it made Mox look a bit silly there, but nevertheless, Mox hit his paradigm shift again after a back and forth brawl, and Omega kicks out. Later, Don Callis gets involved, and this provides a distraction to Mox as Omega beats him over the head with a mic right between the eyes. And this causes Mox to bleed a bit. Then Omega follows it up with multiple V-triggers and a one-winged angel for the win. And we have a new AEW World Champion, and that is Kenny Omega. And this was the first time Jon Moxley was ever pinned in AEW since his debut last year. Now that is a champion that was booked very strong. And we will definitely be seeing these two face off yet again because I believe they got another good match in them. This should not be over. We're going to see these two again. Post-match, both Don Callis and Kenny Omega scurries through the tunnels backstage, which showed a very upset Tony Khan wondering, what the heck are you guys doing? And both Kenny and Don managed to escape via a vehicle that was waiting on them. Marvez just so happened to get a word from him before this, and Don Callis lets us know that we will know everything on Tuesday next week. And Tuesday happens to be Impact Wrestling's show time. And this leads to the conclusion that Impact and AEW could be working together. And if so, that's going to make for some great TV. And there you have it. That was your AEW Dynamite review for December 2nd, 2020. A very newsworthy show. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you with the next review. Take care.